In an era where every EV company is locked in a battle over range, charging time, and price, a piece of news has emerged amidst the noise that has shaken the entire industry. CATL's new solid-state battery, the name might suggest it's just another ordinary update, but the reality is far more profound. CATL is the company considered the backbone of most of the world's EV batteries today. And now this same company is working on technology that could change all the old rules of the EV game. Imagine if the fear of battery fires was virtually eliminated, charging took only minutes, and the range increased so much that even petrol cars would be put to shame. What would happen then? And the biggest question is, if all this actually comes to the market, what will Tesla, BYD, and other EV giants do? This is why many CEOs aren't speaking openly, but there's a lot of activity behind the scenes. In this video, we won't just hear claims, but we'll understand what CATL's new solid-state battery actually is, how it differs from today's lithium-ion batteries, and why some experts are saying it could be the biggest turning point for the EV industry. And yes, there's a revelation at the end that will compel you to stay until the very end of the video. Before we proceed with the video, please subscribe to the channel so you can be among the first to see such videos. Before we learn about CATL's new battery, let's learn a little about CATL. Because if you understand who CATL really is, you'll understand why the entire EV industry becomes wary when this company talks about solid-state batteries. CATL isn't a name that suddenly appeared in the news or became the talk of the town because of a single model. CATL today stands at a place where the entire electric vehicle industry breathes its last. No matter how large most EV companies in the world are, their vehicles can't hit the road without a battery supplier like CATL. Simply put, the battery is the heart of an EV car, and CATL is at the forefront of making that heartbeat. CATL may have originated in China, but today its influence extends worldwide. From Tesla to BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Honda, and many other major names rely on CATL batteries in one way or another. Many people think that the real power in the EV industry lies with car manufacturers, but the truth is that battery manufacturers hold the real control. Car designs can be changed. Software can be updated, but if the battery isn't reliable, affordable, and can't be produced in large quantities, the entire plan stalls. This is where CATL played its biggest trick. CATL isn't a company that simply showcases technology in the lab and issues a press release. Its true strength lies in manufacturing scale. Today, CATL produces so many batteries that it dwarfs the total EV demand in many countries. This is why when a new EV brand wants to enter the market, the first question is, who will provide the batteries? And often the answer is CATL. This company has made batteries not just a component, but the foundation of the entire industry. CATL's second major strength is its experience. CATL has worked for years on every level of lithium-ion batteries: safety, energy, density, life cycle, cost reduction. And this is the company that has continuously experimented with different chemistries, from structured batteries like blades. While other companies were still discussing what could be, CATL was working on how to produce at scale. This is the difference between a startup and an industry leader. To call CATL just a technology company would be incomplete. It's a strategic player. This company already understood that the future of EVs wouldn't be limited to cars. Grid storage, commercial vehicles, trucks, buses, even energy storage systems. The need for batteries would increase everywhere. CATL planned accordingly. That's why when this company talks about new battery technology, people consider it not a fantasy of the future, but a reality to come. This is why when CATL talks about solid-state batteries, no one can call it yet another prototype. People know that if CATL is serious about a technology, it already has the supply chain, factories, raw materials, and long-term plans in place. This fear haunts many of our companies. If CATL sets the next battery standard car, companies will be forced to follow suit, whether they're ready or not. Today, CATL isn't just a battery supplier. It has become the backbone of the EV industry, the hidden limitations of lithium-ion batteries that no one talks about. If you look at any EV advertisement today, everything seems perfect. Long-range futuristic design, large screens, smart features, and software updates. But beneath all these shiny things lies a truth that very few people talk about openly. That truth is today's lithium-ion battery. This battery is the heart of every EV, but it is also its weakest point. No matter how advanced an EV may seem from the outside, the battery technology inside is still based on outdated principles. The first and biggest problem is its liquid electrolyte. In simple terms, today's batteries contain a flammable liquid that helps ions move around. This liquid makes the battery functional, but it is also the biggest danger. A slightly higher temperature, a minor short circuit, or increased pressure during an accident, and that liquid can burst into flames. This is why we hear reports of EVs catching fire, and no matter how much companies try to hide it, the fear has taken root in people's minds. Another major problem associated with this is thermal runaway. This term may sound technical, but the meaning is very simple. When the battery temperature goes out of control, it starts to heat itself up even more. One cell heats up, it heats another, then a third, and before you know it, the entire battery becomes a ball of fire. This is why it is often difficult to extinguish an EV fire for hours after it starts. Even pouring water on it doesn't put out the fire because a chemical reaction is taking place inside. This is the truth that raises a big question mark over the safety of EVs. Now let's talk about charging. Companies make a big fuss about fast charging, but in reality, lithium-ion batteries are still very sensitive to charging. Charging too fast will reduce battery life, cause overheating, and increase safety risks. This is why companies limit charging speeds. This means that no matter how fast a charger you use, the battery itself will say slow down. This is why while filling up with petrol takes 3 to 4 minutes, charging an EV still takes 30 to 40 minutes, or even longer. This is what keeps people away from EVs in everyday use. Another major problem is weight. Lithium-ion batteries are very heavy. A large part of an EV's design goes into managing the weight of the battery alone. A heavy battery means more structure, more material, and higher costs. This is why making small and affordable EVs is still not easy. The heavier the car, the more energy it takes to run it, and this also affects the range. Companies try to increase the range by putting in larger batteries, but this increases both weight and cost. It becomes a vicious cycle that is difficult to break out of. Now let's talk about battery degradation, which hardly anyone talks about openly. Over time, the capacity of lithium-ion batteries decreases. After 2 or 3 years, the same battery doesn't provide the same range as before. Charging becomes slower, and sometimes replacement becomes necessary, which is very expensive. This fear also prevents people from buying second-hand EVs. In a petrol car, if the engine breaks down, there is an option for repair, but if the battery fails, the entire system has to be replaced. The biggest point is that today's EV battery technology is not really anything new. Lithium-ion batteries were developed years ago for mobile phones and laptops. The only difference is that today they have been scaled up and put into cars. This means that instead of finding a new solution to the real problem, we have simply scaled up the old system. A layer of software design, art, and marketing has been added on top to make everything look very modern. What a solid-state battery really is. It's not just a name, it's a complete system transformation. Whenever people hear the term solid-state battery, they think it's a minor technical upgrade like adding another lens to a camera. But the truth is that solid-state batteries aren't just a minor improvement, they change the entire concept of batteries. To understand this, we first need to forget that a battery is merely a container that stores charge. Essentially, a battery is a chemical system, and the weakest part of that system has always been the liquid electrolyte. Solid-state batteries hit the spot where all modern batteries are weak. In simple terms, today's lithium-ion batteries contain a flammable liquid called the electrolyte. This liquid allows the ions to flow from one end to the other, allowing the battery to charge and discharge. But this same liquid becomes dangerous. For accidents. Solid-state batteries completely eliminate this liquid and replace it with a solid material. This change may sound small, but the impact is significant, because once the liquid is gone, half of the battery's problems disappear. Think of it like an old-fashioned bulb and today's LED. Older bulbs also provided light, but they overheated, consumed more electricity, and failed to see out more quickly. LED does not only change the way we lit our cars, but also transform the entire system. Less heat, less electricity, and longer lifespan. Solid-state batteries are a similar change. They aren't just a slightly improved version of lithium-ion batteries, but the next generation of battery technology. With no liquid inside the battery, the biggest advantage is safety. Solid-state batteries greatly reduce the risk of fire as there's no combustion inside. Problems like thermal runaway. A major concern with today's EV batteries are virtually eliminated. This is why experts say solid-state batteries could make EVs truly safe for the first time. This isn't just a technical advantage, but also a way to remove fear from people's minds. Another major change comes in battery structure. Because of the liquid electrolyte, today's batteries require numerous layers, safety spaces, and heavy casings. Solid-state batteries eliminate all of this. This means batteries can be more compact, lighter, and store more energy in the same space. In simple terms, more power in a smaller battery. This is why solid-state batteries can dramatically increase the range of EVs without requiring larger batteries. Now let's talk about charging. Today's batteries are very fragile. If you charge them too fast, they will heat up, damage them, and increase the risk. Solid-state batteries are much more robust in this regard. The solid material allows the ions to move quickly and steadily. This means that charging the battery faster becomes safer. This is why people are hoping that solid-state batteries will bring EV charging closer to the experience of filling up with gasoline. Another major advantage is longevity. Today's lithium-ion batteries gradually degrade from within. Their chemical structure breaks down with each charge-discharge cycle, and this deterioration is much less in solid-state batteries because the solid electrolyte is more stable. This means the battery can maintain its capacity for years. This is a huge relief for EV owners, as the fear of battery replacement is often a costly concern. Most interestingly, solid-state batteries aren't just for cars. This technology could be used in trucks, buses, grid storage, and in the future, possibly even airplanes. This means it's not just an improvement on EV, but has the potential to transform the entire energy world. This is why it's being called not next generation, but new era. Why CATL's new solid-state battery is considered different from other prototypes. Most of the solid-state battery news you've heard so far involves batteries developed in laboratories. Some samples, some test cells to some showcase videos. Very few of them are suitable for mass production in thousands or millions of vehicles. The reason is clear. Solid-state batteries are difficult to manufacture, and mass production is even more challenging. This is the hurdle where most companies get stuck. CATL's case is considered different because the company has already proven that it can not only design batteries, but also manufacture them on a large scale consistently and reliably. Currently, CATL is the world's largest producer of EV batteries. It has factories, machinery, raw material suppliers, and most importantly, experience. When CATL talks about solid-state batteries, experts assume that it's not just a slide presentation, but a plan that will eventually reach the production line. CATL's other major strength is its supply chain. See, battery manufacturing isn't just about chemistry. It requires lithium, other materials, processing units, and logistics. Many startups have good technology, but they get stuck when it comes to scaling up. Sometimes raw materials become expensive. Sometimes supplies are interrupted. CATL already operates this entire system. Therefore, it can integrate new technology into its existing system instead of building everything from scratch. Another important point is that CATL doesn't rely on just one idea. This company doesn't follow a single pole. CATL has previously worked on various battery chemistry structures and designs. It has seen what works and what doesn't. This is why when CATL talks about solid-state batteries, it speaks very cautiously. No exaggerated promises, no excessive hype. This is what gives experts confidence. Yet you've often seen companies say our solid-state battery is ready, but then nothing happens for years. CATL is not that kind of company. This company tests its technology with existing systems, gradually makes improvements, and only then moves forward. This means that CATL's new solid-state battery won't be a sudden complete transformation, but rather a step that the industry will be able to adopt. That's why experts aren't dismissing it as just a lab experiment. They know that CATL already has customers. As soon as this battery is even partially ready, there will be vehicles available to test it. Startups don't have this advantage. They first look for customers, then try to fit the technology. With CATL, it's the other way around. Customers first, then the new technology. Another thing that sets CATL apart is its business mindset. CATL knows that the whole world won't switch to solid-state batteries overnight. That's why it's working on a battery that can be adopted gradually. This approach is very important because the industry is wary of sudden changes. CATL is taking steps while keeping that fear in mind. Range and charging. Why petrol cars might feel uncomfortable. The biggest strengths of petrol cars have always been two things: long range and quick refueling. People have always said that you can take a petrol car anywhere, fill up the tank in 5 minutes and drive for hundreds of kilometers. This is also where the biggest doubts about EVs arose. Charging takes time and the range is limited, but as soon as the concept of higher energy density batteries comes into play, this entire argument begins to falter. And this is the moment where petrol cars start to feel uncomfortable. First, let's understand what energy density is. In simple terms, it's how much energy can be stored in a battery of the same weight or size. With today's batteries, if you want to increase the range, you have to make the battery bigger and heavier. But with new technologies like solid-state batteries, the same battery can hold more energy while remaining lighter. This directly translates to longer range without making the car heavier. This is where the EV story changes. While today EVs are limited to a range of 400 to 500 kilometers, a range of 800 to 1,000 kilometers no longer seems like a fantasy. Imagine if you could drive from Delhi to Jaipur, then back from Jaipur to Delhi on a single charge and still have charge left. Would the range advantage of petrol cars still exist? This is the question that troubles the petrol industry, even if they don't openly admit it. Now let's talk about charging. Today, people consider EV charging a chore. Half an hour, 40 minutes, or even more. But higher energy density and better battery structure have another advantage. Faster charging. When the battery is more stable and generates less heat, it becomes safer to charge it faster. This means that the same task that takes 30 to 40 minutes today could be done in just a few minutes in the future. Now ask yourself this question. If an EV can be charged in 5 to 10 minutes and travel 800 to 1,000 kilometers, where does the biggest advantage of a petrol car go? The advantage of refueling a petrol car only exists as long as EVs are lagging behind. As soon as EVs catch up, the entire equation changes. People don't drive petrol cars just out of habit. They drive them for convenience. Lighter batteries don't just affect range and charging, they also impact the driving experience. A lighter car will have better acceleration, improved handling, and less strain on the tires and brakes. This means EVs can become not only longer range vehicles, but also more enjoyable to drive. Another defining characteristic of petrol cars, the driving feel is also challenged here. The biggest change will come in people's mindset. Today, people say EVs are fine for the city, but not for long distances. As soon as long range and fast charging become commonplace, this statement will automatically disappear. Then the question won't be whether an EV can travel long distances, but why anyone would buy a petrol car. And this is where petrol cars feel uncomfortable, because their entire system engine gearbox fuel system is built to solve a problem that will no longer be a problem. When EVs start doing the same job better, cheaper, and more quietly, what will be the petrol car's answer? Therefore, an 800 to 1,000 kilometers range and charging in minutes are not just technological figures. It's a turning point where the last barrier between EVs and petrol cars could fall. And when that barrier falls, petrol cars will start to feel not just uncomfortable, but obsolete. Why are a Tesla, And to be silent. The real tension lies here. Whenever a major technological shift is about to occur in the EV industry, a strange silence descends. Statements become scarce, interviews become evasive, and companies that were speaking on every platform suddenly fall silent. That same silence is clearly visible today. Giants like Tesla and BYD are not openly commenting on solid-state batteries and especially on CATL's moves. From the outside, this might seem like peace. But internally, this silence represents the greatest tension. In reality, large companies remain silent when they themselves don't know which direction the game is headed. Both Tesla and BYD have built their entire strategy around existing battery technology. Factories supply, chains, software, even future models. Everything is running on a predetermined roadmap. Now imagine what would happen if the standard for batteries suddenly changed. The plan that was made for 5 to 10 years suddenly becomes obsolete. This is why no CEO is taking the risk of speaking openly right now. Tesla's case is even more interesting. Tesla has always presented itself as a technology leader. Battery Day, new cell designs, big announcements. But if the next major battery breakthrough falls into someone else's hands, Tesla's leader image could be questioned. And for BYD, which manufactures both batteries and cars, the threat is even more direct. If CATL's technology becomes the industry standard, BYD will have to decide whether to continue developing its own battery line or adopt external technology. Neither decision is easy. This is the industry of politics that is not visible from the outside. Companies smile in press releases, but the questions in the boardroom are very bitter. Should we change our battery strategy? Could our current investments become worthless? Will we be able to jump on the new technology in time? And these are questions that cannot be answered overnight. And when the answer isn't clear, silence is the safest option. Now let's talk about the big game. If CATL truly succeeds in mass-producing its solid-state batteries, the power balance of the EV market could completely shift. Until now, the power was considered to be with the car manufacturers. But in the future, the real power will lie with a company that possesses the best and most reliable battery technology. Because many companies can make cars, but not everyone can make batteries. If this happens, the battery maker will no longer be just a supplier. It will determine which company progresses, how quickly, who gets the new technology first, and who gets it later. This means that control of the EV industry could gradually shift from auto companies to battery companies. This is the same kind of shift that happened in the mobile industry, where the power shifted from hardware manufacturers to chip and software makers. The impact will be even greater at the global level. Companies that adopt the new battery technology quickly will surge ahead. Those that delay will only be able to compete on price or design, which is not sustainable in the long run. For smaller EV brands, this could be both an opportunity and a threat. An opportunity because if they get the right battery, they can compete with the big names. A threat because if battery supply is limited, the big players will be first in line. If you enjoy videos like this that explain complex topics in simple language and provide accurate information, then be sure to subscribe to the channel right now. This way, you'll be among the first to see exclusive information about EVs technology and upcoming major changes.